Welcome everybody to my next movie review. This movie is more of like a man flick, where it's, basically guys behaving like guys, and, male. Well, and, kind of like, the werewolves and vampire thing thrown in to boot for good measure. And Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and, it's like some of this stuff is so, like, off, that it's like, the suspension of disbelief for me is like, I'm like, finding myself rolling my eyes. It's, of course, this movie, Van Helsing. It's got Hugh Jackman, Kate Beckensdale, Richard Roxburgh, David Wynham, Will Kemp, Kevin J. O'Connor, and Schuler Hensley. My husband wanted this movie for his birthday. He told me he would just love to get this movie, because he likes it. Well, I tell you what, it took me a while to actually find this movie to give him. And I got lucky and paid actually nothing for it, now that I think for it. So I know I didn't steal it. I actually, went to pay for it and it didn't ring up. It was another one of those things where, the monkeys and Krugers weren't paying attention, and they, oops, let me slide with the DVD. In fact, I got a story about that. When I gave Tony Van Helsing for his birthday, last year in 2010, I said, I found myself laughing at him as he was opening it, and he's like, "What's so funny?" And I said, "Honey," I said, "the funniest part about that movie is how much I paid for it." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, I got to the point where I was laughing really hard about that. And he's like, "Why? How much did you pay for it?" And I said, "Well, honey, just for the record, I didn't steal it." I go, "I did pay for it." This is like one of like a couple of movies that I own that I didn't steal them. Seriously, I was legitimately trying to pay for them, and Kroger's for some reason didn't, their cash register didn't ring it up. And now, please, if you're working for Kroger's, don't come after me for trying to pay for it, $10, because that's how much I paid for both of, or would have paid for both of them. Seriously, that's your all's fault, not mine. But seriously, I was cracking up laughing. I told her, I said, seriously, I got that for free. And I told him, I said, I said it, I said, seriously, honey, I was going to pay for it. I had every intention of paying for it, but their system malfunctioned and let me get off with it for free. And I'm like, okay, whatever, that's your all's fault, Anyway, this movie is about, of course, Abraham Van Helsing, or Gabriel Van Helsing. And what it is, the movie starts off with Van Helsing fighting Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, or Mr. Hyde, and they're fighting, and they're on top of the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. Yeah, that's like one big freaking inconsistency there. Van Helsing did not face Mr. Hyde, okay? Let's examine the facts. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was written by R.L. Stevenson. Van Helsing showed up in, Bram Stoker's book, Dracula, hello, they would not have met, granted, let's face it, like the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Mina Harker's in there as, just like the follower when she actually is the leader and stuff. It's the same kind of concept. But seriously though, it's just one of them things where, it's like you watch it and you're like, okay, one is like comparing apples to oranges on there, it's like not the same thing. The other thing is, and I wanted to point this out, the guy that plays Dracula in Van Helsing, he actually played the Duke in Moulin Rouge, or so I'm told. The guy does not look like nothing like what he looked like in Moulin Rouge. The guy in Moulin Rouge, the Duke character, I wanted to smack him so bad, like, you know, I mean, it's just his voice got on my nerves. I mean, it was like dragging your nails down the chalkboards, like, you know, I mean, he just, his voice just irritated me. The guy that, you know, in here as Dracula, you know, he did a good job. I mean, for the most part, you know, but there's bits and pieces of Dracula, like, you know, that was off, you know. Yeah, I think he could have taken lessons from Gary Oldman on playing Dracula correctly, because Gary Oldman did a really good job in Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula. Or better yet, if Bela Lugosi was alive and a drug addict and had died, like, way back when, you know, Bela Lugosi could have showed them all a thing or two, because Bela was the man when it came to playing Dracula. You know, I mean, granted, his version of Dracula was, you know, the movie review that I did. I mean, that was like a watered-down version of Dracula, but, I mean, he did a good job playing Dracula. Old Bela Lugosi did, God rest his soul. But, you know, I mean, that part was, like, way off, you know, and, yeah, I mean, the special effects in this movie is pretty good. The werewolves bit, like, you know, there's like that one scene where the monk comes out and says, "Why does it smell like wet dog in here?" You know, and they're like, "There's a werewolf in here." And, you know, it's like, you know, basically my opinion is why does it smell like a wet dog, you know? The movie was action-packed and, you know, it was acceptable. What I find is ironic is the fact that Kate Beckensdale plays, you know, Princess Anna, and who's trying to destroy vampires when, you know, if you know anything about Kate Beckensdale, she plays a vampire in Underworld, you know, in the Underworld series, and it's like, you know, it cracks me up. It's like thinking, you know, now she's playing both sides of the coin, you know, like, you know, she plays, you know, a vampire killer, and then she plays a vampire herself, you know, and, you know, I mean, I've seen her in Underworld. She did a good job, but I'm not talking about Underworld here, but anyway, I mean, I do highly recommend Van Helsing if you want to watch a guy flick, you know, even though it's got some inaccuracies in it. It's a decent movie. But anyway, you know, hang on, because I've got some more movie reviews to do, and one of them is definitely a guy, well, at least one of them is definitely a man flick. Okay, besides this one, okay? So hold on, be right back.